Evening. I hope you are all well today. Welcome to my channel. I wasn't really going to do a preview, but I'm quite excited about the game now, and I also wanted to cover a couple of other things as well. Obviously, the transfer window's over now, so we've got a full identity of our squad, of who we've got for the rest of the season, and we also know also the rest of the Premier League teams, especially the other two, which are really going to be the ones which are going to make a difference. So that's going to be interesting. I've also got a brilliant guest.
What's good, bro? Sorry I'm late, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I've also got Ensman on my show today. I'm looking at doing guest shows for previews and reviews because it's always good to get a, was it the eye test, isn't it? Is that what you
Yeah.
say? The eye test?
Always good to get the eye test out.
Exactly. So we're going to have a look at a couple of things about Liverpool. Obviously, with the game coming up, it's probably Slot's first biggest test, really, I would say. This is the game which has caught us out in the past, even when we've literally steamrolled teams all over the park. We've still like drew 1-1 and games like that at Old Trafford, at the old toilet. Sometimes that just happens. So we'll see how we get on. I've just watched the Man City game. Like Erling Haaland, mate, he had 21 touches of the ball,
Stupid, isn't it?
and he could have had 5 goals.
Stupid. Honestly, I was watching the game as well. He had 4 chances and scored 3, bro.
Mental. Like he's just deadly, isn't he? He's the only forward they've got as well. Do you know that?
Flipping hell, man. It was winding me up. Because after he got his second goal, he was just out of the game completely. It wasn't playing well. And then he scored the third one. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Honestly, do my head in. The thing about it as well is, I was in the chat on Jamie's watch along that he does on Tifo, and West Ham came flying out and then just sat back and just got absolutely mullered. And then they got a goal and then they just sat back again. And I'm just like, does anyone ever learn the only way to get a City is to fight against them? Like it's the only way to get anything against City is to just have a go. Like because sometimes they can't cope. But yeah, crazy man. Anyway, I wanted to. So what I wanted to do really is I wanted to have a quick look at the squads. Okay, so I want to look at our squad, what we've got for the rest of the season. Kind of get a view on what you think of what we've got and if it's good enough to compete. I also wanted to have a look at the other teams as well because I've been on other people's channels, and I think the fume's out of control. Like if you look at some of the other squads of our competing teams that are challenging with us, I think people are overreacting. Like genuinely do. So, and if you see it with the eyes, then maybe you can look and go, oh, well, hang on a minute, maybe it's just not that bad. Anyway, so I wanted to have a look at that as well because we're complaining. Too many people are complaining about what's been done and what's not been done. But if you look at what hasn't been done by other teams as well, then maybe maybe in a couple of months' time we'll see that actually we're all right. We'll have a look anyway. Okay, so let me have a look at the Liverpool squad. Okay, so this is the business that we did here. So this is the business that we did, and this is the business that obviously we move players on.
Cool.
Okay, so we obviously got in Chiesa. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is what I talked about as well is we've strengthened in an area that we're already strong at, and that's sometimes one of the best things you can do if you can do anything. It is just strengthen what you're already strong with.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. with the forward one, we already knew that we needed a backup to Mo Salah or someone that could come in and contribute so the standards or level doesn't drop off. So that was fine for me. The goalkeeping one, I think, is just one of those ones you can't really let that slide for too long because someone else might go in there and get him. Ali's not getting younger, he's getting older. And it's not to say he's having a drop off or he's not good enough. It's just we're like, well, this guy's 23. He looks like he's going to become one of the best goalkeepers in the world eventually based on his trajectory and stuff like that. So that makes sense. Then you've got the midfield problem in terms of not getting a deep line playmaker, six, whatever way you want to describe it or call it. That's the other issue I think most people have an issue with. But then the manager's probably looked and gone, right, number one choice I wanted weren't there. I probably don't think anyone else is good enough. And maybe I see something in Gravenberch and I think I could utilize him until someone else comes up that I think is going to improve the squad. Because I know there's a lot of names people can throw out there and they automatically just think this guy can come in and make a difference. And I'm not saying you're incorrect or I'm right or whatever, but the manager seems to not think so. And he thinks that Gravenberch could be the guy, if not the guy, to do what he wants him to do. So that's probably the reason why he hasn't gone to fix the other situations. And then it was just crazy other calls like we need a new left back and stuff like that. You got two. Unless you sell one, you ain't getting another one. We loaned out one. I think was he back on this list? I think he's out on loan as well.
We loaned out two actually.
Is it two?
We loaned out Chambers
as well, aren't it? Yeah. So yeah, we started off the window with 4 left backs. And now we're down to 2 again, and we're not going to sign one unless one of them goes.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Like, so I'd say the biggest issue we've got is we've actually got a player which can play really well as a left back, a centre back, and a right back. So we've kind of got. That's the thing. That's the thing for me. Like I said this all along. Like, if we sell Gomez or we sell Endo and we don't buy a player, then I'm really kicking off. Like I'm really going, what is going on? Like you can't sell Gomez or Endo and not replace with a player.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably where the manager sat as well. The manager probably sat there and went, right, we need to have a guy that we can go for right away like this. If Gomez goes or Endo goes, but he was never forcing them out. Obviously we rejected that bid for Endo, which I think is a fair thing in rejecting that bid because that would have left us short for the pre-season.
Exactly.
And he obviously wanted to look at players, but the whole rumours around Gomez, I genuinely believe we had a guy lined up. Like I think we probably would have gone for an Asio or a Hincapié. Like I reckon one of them would have probably been activated.
Yeah.
If Palace would have taken Gomez or Newcastle would have came in and got Gomez. But Gomez was the best left back in the country last season for me. Like he just was. Like he might be the best left back this season. Like
the thing though,
he's going to play as one.
The thing though, KMack, I don't think the manager probably sees him as that. I think he sees him as a centre back, and I get it. Obviously, on the clock, he was down the pecking order, and then he only kind of got back into the team by playing left back. But with only having 3 senior centre backs, Gomez makes that 4th. I think he's going to be playing centre back because you already got 2 left backs, you got 2 right backs, you got 4 centre backs now. So I can't see a situation unless there's injuries and we have to fill in terms of positions and stuff. I can't see him going, do you know what? We're not going to play Tsimikas or Robbo. We're going to play you. I don't think the manager would do that. I could be wrong. In the next couple of games, maybe he does that. Maybe in like the League Cup game against West Ham, he might try that. But I doubt it. I think he sees him as a centre-back now. And I think that's what we have to go forward with.
Do you think he's ahead of Quansah then?
No, but I think it comes to a point where you're going to have to use them, right? He's going to be on the bench. I think we'll have 2 centre-backs on the bench, won't we? Or 3 defenders, whatever order you want to put that in. If that's a right back, a centre-back, left back, whatever order you want to put it in. Or Gomez because he can play on the right left or centre. So you probably have him because he can cover all positions. You would probably have a right back and then and maybe another centre back as well on there with Kwanzaa. But I don't think he's above Kwanzaa currently because he hasn't played in that position for ages. But I think the manager sees him as that. So it means League Cup game, it could be, not saying it is, it could be Virgil obviously rested for that one. And it could be Gomez and Kwanzaa, or it could be Kanate and Gomez, or do you know what I mean? Gomez and Virgil. It all depends, innit? What the man.
I mean, that's a good lineup as well, isn't it? Like you've got Tsimikas, Gomez, Kwanzaa, Bradley. It's a decent lineup. The thing about it as well is, and I said this before on other channels. If Gomez would have come back from pre-season like 2 weeks earlier, and cut his holiday short, I reckon he could have probably been our second choice left back. Like
I think so too.
He would have got into the manager's head, and he would have gone, God, you know what? I can sell Tsimikas. You know, Gomez can be my left back. Like, and he might have played some of the games in the US, but he didn't. And I was just like, you've got a real opportunity here, mate. You didn't do anything in the Euros. Like, let's be honest.
Do you know what that is, though? Remember, he didn't really get any time. It's not that he couldn't have come back.
I get that.
Just the family stuff, innit? You wait for the whole summer to go on holiday. So that's I would have loved him to. I know you would have loved him to. I'm sure many of the Liverpool fans would have loved him to. But the family's important, man, and he had to probably just go on holiday with the missus and stuff like that. So and take a little break away from football.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just have a look at some of the players that obviously we moved on. Fabio Carvalho. I'm fine with that. He hasn't done anything with Brentford either, by the way. They won 3-1 today and didn't need him.
Come on, didn't really. Yeah, he's one of the ones I wish to keep, but maybe from a selfish point of view more than anything else, because I feel like there was a player there. But I feel like him in pre-season and certain things kept calling himself a 10 and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then obviously he did his interview and he said you could have that feeling when other players come back. You know, you ain't really, you know what I mean, the manager ain't really feeling you when the other guys come back. So I get it, man. He had to go out and I think that's good money for someone that hasn't really played for us properly.
Yeah. Seb van der Beek. I mean, basically we got rid of two. We literally made like nearly 60 million off two guys that haven't kicked the ball for us in like 2-3 years. Like seriously, that's just brilliant. And I know it's not our money, and I know it's like money that's probably sat there now, but the money is sat there now. Like it's not like we're spending it on anything else. It will be in the kitty for a player if we need one in January, and we might not need one in January. And I know everyone might go crazy in the chat, but we might actually not need anyone in January if you just look at the squad that I'm going to show you in a bit. Then you got Bobby Clark, who obviously had a couple of games last season because we needed to, because we had so many injuries. And he was promised games from Klopp when we signed him, and that's the reason why he signed. That came out. That was talked about, and we got 10 million for a guy that's done nothing for us. Never really made the first team either. And then we've obviously just got other players like Harvey Blair, Kameto, Araya, who's no idea who he was, who he ever was. But we never ever got a wear permit for him. And then obviously got Matip, Thiago, and Adrian, who all left end of the contracts. Sad that Thiago retired, because if Thiago was still fit, we'd all be raving about him probably doing the Zubimendi role for us.
100%. And that's based on how we want to play now. This would have been the perfect type of player to kind of play in there. And I would, if it was a thing where, you know, it was fit and he played the last season, we opted not to kind of give him a new contract. I'd have been like, all right, cool. I would have probably just gone, do you know what? Would you mind just, you know what I mean, spending 6 months up till January? He definitely adds quality. And I know obviously he's mad injury, so it is what it is, isn't it? It's just a hypothetical thing. But it's bro, if he was fit and playing him in the way we want to play now and this stuff, this would be stupid.
Wouldn't he? Amazing. Wouldn't he be amazing, mate?
You can only
obviously, yeah, absolutely, mate. And then we've also got a load of players that we loaned out, which which I'm absolutely fine with, to be honest. I'm glad Stefan Bacetich has got a good loan. He's wearing the number 8 shirt as well, so it means
Same.
he's going to get some game time. Looks like Ben Doak's got a good loan as well at
Yeah.
Middlesbrough. They play wingers, play some nice football. Lewis Kumas is doing really well for Stoke.
Yeah.
He had another good game today. I think he got like 7.4 on SofaScore, and they won. So he's doing well. Kate Gordon's got a good loan to Norwich. I mean, these are all
Norwich,
great
that's a
loans.
great loan. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not garbage clubs. They're all clubs that are going to be in and around battling for the
And
for promotion.
that's what I've always wanted. Sometimes when we just loan them to these random not random clubs, because obviously everyone's a good club in their own right, but it always felt like there was no structure to the loans. It felt like we were just loaning them for loan's sake. Like, oh, I don't want to worry about you. Just go here. But now I'm seeing it as, do you know what? We sent Kumas to Stoke. Either one or two things. He's gonna smash it down there, and his value is gonna skyrocket.
Yeah.
And then he comes back, or we sell him on for a profit. But if he goes up and he plays well, that means he's coming back into a Liverpool team. Not saying he's going to be knocking on the door or anything like that, but he comes in, goes into pre-season and show what he's about. And if not, then can we loan him to another Premier League club, see if he can cut it there, and then he can, come into the team. Because I think he's one for the future. Bajcetic as well, playing Champions League football, that's going to be massive. And then like Kate Gordon as well. He obviously had the 18 months injury, didn't he? And he was out for ages. Yeah. Come back. Hasn't really like set the world alight, but there's a player there, and that's a good loan. What it means, okay, man, we've got a lot of matches, and Liverpool fans, if you care about these players, man, we've got a lot of matches to go and watch, because we've got to keep an eye on all of these boys, see how well they're going, instead of just looking at the scores and going, oh, okay, he's done this. Let's go and watch and see if they can do it, man.
I mean, if you want to watch a game, watch the highlights of Stoke in the cup.
Bro, trust me. Since he moved there, I've been watching, because
he's on fire.
I want him to do well, man.
I do as well. He's just been called up to the Welsh squad as well, by the way.
Has he? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so I think it's good for him. And there's a couple of others to watch out for as well. I mean, the thing about it as well, if you look at those players, I see a similar format of the three that we've just sold. If it doesn't work out and they're not going to get back into the Liverpool team next year, and they have really good loans, well, you've got another Fabio Carvalho, Steph van der Berg, and Bobby Clark, who's going to fund another player.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. They don't have to, because we know it's difficult. Look, the squad, and obviously when you get there, we'll speak about the squad, but it's going to be difficult for them anyway to get in, especially if we want new players either in January or in the summer again. It's going to be difficult for them players to come back in. And you're not going to get 3 or 4 or 5 academy players that gets into the first team. So some are going to be sold. Some, maybe 1 or 2 probably, get in there. And then the rest could just whitter away and kind of go to a different club and not really achieve anything. But I feel like these ones, I think there's something there, man. Even if we get back Kate Gordon and he's cost 20 million. It's 20 million. Do you know what I mean? Or he comes back and he's really, really good because he was ripping up players and he's playing men's football. Like what Conor Bradley did. He went away, done his thing, come back, and now he's just in the team. And you're like, there's obviously Trent, the quality is there in Trent. When he plays, he sees it. But when Bradley plays, I don't sit there going, oh my days, I can't believe Bradley's on the pitch. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Bradley's on. That's fine.
The thing about the Bradley one as well, and I want to talk about this when we do the preview. I think they offer different dynamics, as a right back. I think you've got something completely different from Bradley, which you don't get from Trent, which is another way of attacking the opposition and another way of unlocking the defence.
Yeah.
Because of his late runs into the box, because of his maraudering pace along the wings. I think he offers a completely different dynamic, which also helps us as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you swap Salah for Chiesa and you swap Trent for Bradley, you've got 2 different dynamic of players that both offer different things on the wing for the team, which is great. And also, Bradley's really good defensively as well. He is.
He is.
Okay, so I just want to quickly cover some of the other loans. So you've got you've obviously got Calvin Ramsey, who's highly rated by the club, still giving him a chance. Obviously Luke Chambers, who I rate as well. Who, to be honest, I think he probably could have got a better loan, but I think we've gone with Wigan again because he had half a season with them last year and it kind of worked out well. So carry on normal jogging, and he's been a mainstay as their left back in their team. They obviously lost their manager, so they're kind of rebuilding again. Owen Beck with Blackburn, that's an interesting one because Blackburn have got a really good left back.
Yeah.
I think his name's Pickering, who's a good player. I think he's in England under 21 as well. So I don't know how that one's going to work out. And we might well have sold Beck at one stage, I believe.
Yeah.
And obviously Big Nat's going again, which is fine. Like maybe he has a good season with Derby and he gets his value back up because he's not had great loans recently.
Why don't we just give him? I think with Nat at this rate, we just need to give him.
Sold him to Trabzonspor for 4 million, mate. We should have just.
We just need to give him. Just give him now, man. I don't even at this point. I don't even care about selling him. Just give him over. Just Derby. Just have him.
I
agree.
Right? I agree. We turned down 4 million, like, which I think is a bit odd, but
from Derby.
Yeah, no, we turned down 4 million from Trabzonspor, a Turkish team, for him.
Unless we value him for more, I don't know how much more.
We value him for 8. Like we value him at 8.
4 is like he's not playing, and I think cutting is
stickler, mate. Like it does annoy me. It does annoy me. Like that is one thing that does annoy me. Like we play proper hardball on some transfers, like the Keller one. Like I wanted to talk to you about this as well. Like turning down 20 million for him. Like I think we should have took it. Like I really do. Like,
but I think it's going to go back up next, like because obviously he played a lot of games last season. So I think minimum that's what you get now. So I think there's no like wiggle room or you go, oh no, because last season you saw, I think the world people saw how good he was playing out from back 1v1 saves, and he was getting better. And there was, I don't know for you, but I can only speak for myself. But I was like confident or comfortable with him in goal last season when Alisson wasn't there. Obviously, Alisson's a better keeper, but I was just like, all right, Kelleher's there. It's a similar feeling I get with Bradley. Is when he steps in, I'm calm as hell.
Yeah.
So I think he'll keep his value, though. I think he'll keep his value if not improves when we sell him next year.
I hope so. I hope so. But I do rate Yaros. Like I do think he's a really good goalkeeper. Yeah, Mr. Sky Blue. I've actually got a little segment of the show where I'm going to look at out of contract players that we can actually sign. So that was something I wanted to bring in. Great minds, and obviously the players that we released. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about the others because actually Lucas Stevenson's quite an interesting one because I thought he had a good pre-season.
Scanlon as well was a good one as well. To be fair,
yeah. I like Scanlon. He's got a good loan to Millwall, by the way. They're a decent club, and he's really happy about it as well. Did you see his announcement?
I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, he looks really happy to get that loan.
It's good, man. He's gonna do well, man. He's gonna do well. He's a special kid, man. He's a good player.
I think he's more attacking than an actual left back. But we'll see.
I think he'll move. I think he'll end up moving further forward. I think he's one of those players. They'll either use him as a wing back or he's going to use him as a left winger.
Yeah. So I wanted to just cover our full team actually.
Cool.
So this is what we've got left now. Obviously we've got 3 goalkeepers.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those goalkeepers? Are you happy with them?
I'm fine, man. Alisson, best goalkeeper. Yeah. Kelleher, Cole, and Yaros. I've got to see him in pre-season. It's only for a game or so, but I can see that he's a lot more sure and calm of himself. So I'm happy with them 3.
He looked good, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then the defense. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would have liked 9. I've got to be honest. I feel more comfortable with 9. But I will show you.
About, would you have added another centre back? Would you have kept a centre back? You mean, or buy another one?
Yeah. I would have liked to have one more centre back, but we have got another centre back that we highly rate. That's been playing in the under-21s, and he did play in pre-season.
Look good.
In this guy, where is he? Armanalo.
Looked calm and assured of himself as well.
He played 2 pre-season games. Came on as a sub. Looked pretty good. We've also got James Norris as well, which no one seems to talk about, who's 20 years old.
I think maybe his time has come and gone, don't you think?
I don't know. And also Lee Jonas, who's a Jamaican under-21 international, who's also in and around the under-21 squad, I think he's 19. Yeah. So you have got a couple of players there just as a ninth choice. But I mean, that's ninth choice.
But worst case scenario, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously, best case scenario, none of those guys gets injured, and we're all right. Because I think having 4 is a perfect number. Having an extra one is good, but it means someone just misses out on match day because we can't have all these defenders. I think if we rate the Nallos and of this world, I think then, if anything, you get the little call up or the nod, for a League Cup game, and you can come up. Not saying you start, but you're on the bench. So it saves a Virgil being on the bench. It saves, I don't know, an Ibu on the bench or whatever. You can then be that guy on the bench. If we need a sub, the game's going well, you can come in and get some minutes. So I think we're fine there.
And we've had big problems in the past because we've had to use an Ibu or a Virgil in a game which was just a game that you never wanted to use that player. And then it caused an issue when we had a big game afterwards because we didn't have a Canate fit because we had to use him in a game.
You ended up using someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying there, and it makes a lot of sense. So that's the midfield as well. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I also like 9, and I feel we have got 9.
I didn't know Trey was added to the actual senior squad. I thought he might.
No, he's added.
That's interesting. That
we have got 9, by the way, because there's a guy that hasn't gone out on loan, which we all talked about last season as a good defensive midfielder, and in his debut he actually scored and got man of the match.
Oh, okay.
We've still got James McConnell. We never sent him out on loan.
Interesting. That's another guy I'd like to see a bit more of as well, just to see if he has got it.
Exactly.
Or was it just in those moments?
And also Dominic Cornus. If you haven't checked him out, he's a 21-year-old who's had a couple of loads and he's in the under-21s. He's another player that is a potential 9th choice. Okay, so I'm absolutely fine with Trey being in the team.
That's interesting. I didn't think. To be fair, that's my fault not paying attention. But I didn't know that he was gonna go. That's good, man. It means that we value him really high, or the manager looks at him as a really, really talented footballer that he wants to maybe nurture and give time or minutes on the pitch. So that's interesting.
And I'm really excited the fact that we've kept Tyler Morton. I've spoke about him highly. He's had 2 really good loans, and if you just look at the teams that have been after him, they're all top teams. They're all top eight teams in their respective leagues, in the likes of Seville and Leipzig and Leverkusen. They're all good teams. So there's a reason why they're interested in him, because the data obviously matches what they're looking for. So to have him around and for him to be available as a bench player really for the midfield, especially in the defensive midfield position, because looking at that, you've only got McAllister, Endo, and then you're down to Morton. Sorry, Gravenberch, Endo, and then you're down to Morton, because we're not playing McAllister there, are we?
We just need you look at the numbers there, and what was it? 8 we've got in there, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. And listen, in an ideal world, none of these guys get injured, and we're in a good position. You can rotate, put players, lessen the minutes and stuff like that. But what you don't want is obviously injuries, and then all of a sudden people are like, well, you should have bought another one. I don't think we need. Obviously, we needed a specialist in a position that we needed. We've decided not to go and go for someone else because we want to give the opportunity to Gravenberch to play it. But it must mean that they trust a Tyler Morton to come in and do something. They trust Wataru. Maybe McAllister drops back into those little double pit. Like, there's players in there that we can utilize, and I know that's not what people want to hear at times in it, but it just is what it is. We're not the managers of the club, and they get to see these players on a day to day. We can always recommend very good players, but at the end of the day, does it suit what the manager wants? Because sometimes it could mean that they're talented footballers. I think most players are, but do they suit what the gaffer wants?
It's true. It's true. And time will tell with a few of them, because we haven't seen Curtis Jones at all in the Premier League. We haven't seen much of Harvey Elliott, and we've seen nothing of Morton and Naoni. So they're all going to be fresh faces when they come into games.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them are going to play against Man United. I mean, we might bring Elliott on for Szoboszlai if we're winning the game comfortably, because he said it as well in the press that that now that we've got Chiesa, he wants to play Elliott more central attacking wise, which I think is brilliant. Good. I mean, that's brilliant, because chucking him out on the right wing to give Salah a 10-minute rest, that's not going to help Elliott. Like,
never
going
to help his development.
Yeah, it's just needs must. So we want to see him in that position where he played in pre-season and was influential in creating goals, and even last season, like, created 11 goals. So, long may that continue. And the thing about it as well is, we also have to look at a lot of players that we've got that you could see Klopp playing all the time. Then they're young players. Like, they're probably not going to get as much game time as maybe you think they would, but they would have under Klopp. Because that's not how it works. Like you shouldn't have a guy, especially as a centre-back, as a 21-year-old centre-back, being your first team centre-back the whole season. That's madness. Like, he's a 21-year-old centre-back, same as the 21-year-old right-back. Like, that's not how it works. Like,
do you know,
there's no other teams in the Premier League doing that.
I know. So outside of no, I get it. But at the same time, I think if you're good enough, you play, man. And I think he is good enough, but he's still learning, ain't he? He's not the finished article. He's not. There's still things in his game. I think in the first game we saw there was one moment. It weren't even more so the duels, because I think you can have an off day, not winning most of your duels, and sometimes a striker could be on it. Who you're playing against is on it.
He said the team, didn't he?
Yeah, it was just the one when he tried to go and get tight to Delap, and then he just turned and accelerated, and I was like, see that when you're getting older, you get older, you get a bit wiser in terms of being a centre back, and you learn there's certain things you don't do, because the striker is going to feel where you're coming and then turn and I think he'll get better at those little things, which means he'll be a better centre back. But yeah, you're right. But you do have Barcelona with an 17/18-year-old centre back in Kabasi, so he's
serious him as well.
Yeah, right? I was watching them.
But they're going to break him, aren't they? They're going to break him like they break everyone else.
He's so quality, man. Watching him today, man, is
they just won 7-0, didn't they?
About 7-0, yeah.
Tell you what, though, Danny Olmo.
What a player, man.
What a player he is. Just came in and just hit the ground running and just made Barcelona. And we're all sat there whinging that Stefan Bajcetic didn't get a loan there. He wouldn't have played.
Been a tough. I would have loved it, obviously, because I like Barca as well, don't I? So I would have loved it if he went as well.
Yeah, he would have been on the bench. Like, he's not going to get past Pedri or Gavi or anyone like that.
Gavi's still out, injured technically, but he's obviously back doing his recovery stuff. But I think he would, because they were going to, obviously the reports was 4 million, weren't they? They were going to pay us 4 million, so they would have played him. I don't think you pay 4 million for a loan and not give them minutes. So that's, imagine that. You're just like, here's little 4 million in your back pocket, mate. Don't worry about it.
Well, there was stuff that came out. I mean, I don't want to divert too much, but there was stuff that came out about the Chiesa deal for Barcelona. They just couldn't afford him. They didn't have any money to give. It was only 10 million, and they couldn't afford that.
They wanted to give us
we'd probably be getting the 4 million in 5 years' time.
Oh yeah, true. Break it down.
The Coutinho money.
Yeah.
Barcelona just writing out IOUs to everyone crazy stuff. Anyway, they'll start getting more money now that the ground's open again. Incredible ground. Okay, so that I haven't done the strikers. Hang on. I mean, we don't really need to talk about the forwards, do we? Like,
I'm so gassed about this, but this is
Diaz looks like a new player. The interesting thing about Luis Diaz, and I'll probably talk about more in the actual preview, is it looks like he's playing him differently in the structure of the setup of the play. Like, he's not the guy which has to get us like 30 yards up the pitch.
no,
That's not Luis Diaz's job anymore. Like, that looks like that's what Salah's doing, which Salah's great at, by the way. And he's also got the final pass, which is much better than Diaz's, because by the time Diaz has got you 30 yards up the pitch, he's normally knackered because he's done that and he's been fighting, and he'll turn around and pass the ball back the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like, it's different now. He's the guy on the bike. He's the guy making the run. So Salah's getting the ball, getting us up there, and then he's giving it to Diaz, which I think is a different dynamic, which helps. We'll see how that goes. I think against Man United, it's going to be
I think he's going to cause a lot of problems in that game.
And I think we like Núñez when he's got a point to prove. He's done really well like that when he's one that's like, yeah, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to be the guy. Like, so we bring him off the bench or we give him opportunities, and he did that when Salah got injured. Do you remember in that 2-month period when he was just on fire with Gapco as well? What do you think?
I think with Núñez, and obviously I said I'll give him this season as well, and obviously the way we utilised him last season, and I don't want to kind of speak about misses and all that for now. I just want to speak about the player and what he contributed to the team. I feel like there's games that you can utilise him in, and especially we know Jota is a starting guy unless Núñez puts his head down and puts a string of games together where you then have to start him. But it means that Jota can get rest and Jota can get rotated, and we don't just have to run Jota's legs into the ground now, because we want to keep Jota as fit as possible so we can have him for 28, 30 games in the season instead of 15.
Yeah.
And that, I think that helps both parties. I think that helps Núñez, takes the pressure off of him not being the main guy, even though he's wearing the number 9. It takes the pressure off of Jota as well. That means you don't have to do silly things, go into silly little challenges here or there. You can save your legs in certain games because you're probably going to play 60, 70 minutes, which means every other game or every game you're saving 30 minutes in the legs, or do you know what I mean? You're going to save a certain amount, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the legs. And then when it comes to the back end of the season, you're fresher, legs are nice. You can give a bit more then, and probably that's when we'll push on, and especially the way we want to play. But with Núñez, I feel like he can offer value to the team. Whether it's from an assisting standpoint or scoring, he just needs to, chill. I was watching a couple of his old, and I'm like, there's something different, because I know the banter and whatever, he can't finish and he's rubbish and whatever. But just watching what he was doing before, I'm like, that's the same player. Like, but something's different. And maybe it's mentally. I don't know. We just have to kind of wait and see. And I'm here to give everyone an opportunity on Arne Slotman. And then I think if he doesn't do well now, then I don't think he'll ever do well. So let's see, man. He hasn't started the first 2 games. He's only got, 20, maybe 30 minutes? Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's not enough minutes to kind of go, he can't play this football. That's crazy. So let's just see how he gets on across the season. See if he can win us some games. He can contribute maybe with an assist here or there. He can play a game, rest Jota's legs. He can cut, you know what I mean? And then go from there.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Núñez as well is he obviously got 18 goals last season, and I think he got, was it 11 assists off the top of my head?
He got 31 goal contributions last season, so whatever way you break it down.
Okay. But the interesting thing is, if you take away Salah's penalties, he actually scored more goals from open play than Salah. I'm just saying.
Probably missed as many chances.
We can say what we want about him. And also thing to point as well is he's banned for 5 international games, so he's going to be a lot fresher than a lot of the others. And it also means that he's going to be on the training pitch when the rest of the team are away on international, which means that Slot can have some one-on-one time with him,
Proper time with him,
and maybe change some of his ways, especially the offside thing, because he came on and he was offside straight away, and I'm just like,
do you know what
oh,
it is
God.
as well, KMack? If I can just add something to it before we
Yeah,
kind
go
of
on.
move
Oh,
on.
actually, can I also just say as well,
Of course.
like 75 of you in the chat here, if you can hit the like and subscribe, please. And if one of the mods, can you please put Ensman's channel link in the chat as well, please, and go and
Appreciate
subscribe to
it,
his
bro.
channel as well. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, it would just, you're right in terms of spending that quality time with him. I was watching, like, prime example, and I'm not comparing the players in terms of Haaland and stuff, but I was watching Haaland today, and they don't even need him in link-up play, just like simple 5-yard passes, and then he's just out the game, and then he just waits for the opportunity and allow the midfielders to build. And I'm watching the way that we're trying to develop and the way we want to play. I don't need Nunes to get involved in play. Just a little one where I just lay you off. I use you as a little wall pass here or there. But just wait and then let the midfield, allow the midfielders and the wingers to go and create and just be in the box, being in areas. And I think that's what he has to get out of his game at the moment, because Klopp, obviously under the Klopp system, it was get involved, you can drift, we can rotate, we can kind of create how we see fit. You know, you might can drift out to the left, he comes short, dropping into midfield, tracking back, doing all that great stuff, because that's what the system required. But I feel like now we have to get that out of him to get in what we want for him to do for us. And I think staying in and around the box is what we need Nunes to do now. We don't need him to do all of that, all the other stuff. And that might help, because I was even analysing like Haaland's runs today. When the wingers get it, he makes 3 runs. He either runs near post, you know, for quickly, if they play into his feet, you can just swing a right foot or a left foot at it. If it goes over to the left-hand side, he runs to the back stick. So it could be what he's done. He makes room for a midfielder coming into the box, which was like Bernardo Silva at times. So then there's a cut back there for Bernardo. If not, he's across the face at the back stick for a tap in. And then when we're playing centrally, he just arcs his run and makes run, and they play him in all the time along the floor. And I feel like the way that we want to play is something similar. So if we just get him to do those things and we just keep replicating it every game, I think those are the opportunities I think he'll do better, because then it becomes consistent and what the requirement is. Back post here, near post here, and then we need you to make this run here. And that's it. And I think that will make it.
Yeah. And the thing about the crazy thing about it as well, Haaland was offside 6 times last season. That's just crazy. Like if we can get some of those quality, I mean, Nunes has got a lot of Haaland qualities, by the way. Like he really has. Like there's a reason why the pair of them were put side by side when they both signed for the clubs, because they both had the pedigree and they both had great seasons before, and everyone was comparing them. Well, they're both bangers. They both score loads of goals. They're both big players. Win a lot of aerials. Win a lot of duels. Like love breaking the offside trap. That kind of stuff. Like if we can get a bit of that back into him, then who knows what we've got on our hands. But we've obviously got Chiesa as well, who I wanted to quickly mention. A guy who's been around for a long time, still relatively young, considering about to go into his prime. Just had a full season, not really any setbacks. Was played in a weird false 9 position all season, if you've looked at where he played, which is crazy. He's got blistering pace, can take people on with either foot, scores big goals. I think he's the guy we need to get us over the line if we're going to be there or thereabouts with the last like 10 games of the season.
Proper excited about this signing, bro. Yeah, honestly, I said when we was linked with him, I don't know if you see my streams, but I just want to keep contained in how I feel about him, because I don't want this one not to go through and we don't get him. But honestly, guys, man, we keep this man fit, he's going to be a problem. And yes, there's going to be little things he might not do correctly in the games, because he still has to learn the tactics, learn what his teammates want, you know, requirement, how they play, certain runs he's going to have to make and stuff like that. So there's going to be moments where you're like, oh, is that what we really bought? But then there's going to be special moments. You're like, oh, I can't believe he scored from there. Or I can't believe he's cooked up those 2 guys and got that assist. But I think the more and more his understanding of what Arna wants and what his teammates need from him, and then they learn how he plays, honestly, man, he's going to be an absolute problem. All that means to us now, guys, Mo can literally, we know Mo's fit, and we know Mo looks sharp already this season. What that means now for Mo is he can even keep himself even more sharper, even more fitter, because he doesn't have to necessarily play the whole 90 now. He doesn't have to play, you know what I mean? He can play 70 like Trent and probably come off in a strop. But we're like, well, we got quality as well now. Do you know what I mean?
care.
There's quality there to kind of, you know what I mean? So it's yeah, man. I'm so happy about this signing, man. Honestly, bro, he's one of them players I can't wait to see play.
Did you hear Trent as well talk about slot? Like if you're not in the right mindset, then you're not in. Like you're not playing.
And that come out after the strop thing as well. So clearly he's probably like, listen, man, I know you're Trent and stuff or whatever, but I'm the boss and this is how we're doing things. But I like that. I like that you stamp your authority in the team. And yes, you're
back yourself. Like back yourself.
Yeah, but if you really want success, sometimes you have to understand the old way is now gone. This is a new way. There's going to be things you don't like, but there's going to be things you love. But I'm sure that's with every player in it. I feel like you're going to have falling outs and you're going to have great moments. And I feel like if we just listen to what the manager wants and give everything you can, perfect.
I also wanted to say as well is like Chiesa is Slot's first signing. Like that's the first player that he wants.
Yeah.
Like, and if that's what we're going by, if that's the bar, like long may it continue.
Yeah, because he wanted
Zubimendi and this guy for a long time.
Exactly, he wanted Zubimendi and Chiesa. Like those are the kind of the two.
That was the bar. Zubimendi and Chiesa.
And then the goalkeeper in a bad shout.
He was
really,
to be the best goalkeeper in the Euros.
We're good, man. We're good. We're in good hands.
Okay, so we're all good. I mean, we can. Gapco's going to be fine, isn't he? Like,
yeah, I think
you can see when he came on. He hit the bar against Brentford. I mean, it was a brilliant block by Collins. He had a really good game, Collins, by the way.
Yeah, he was blocking and throwing himself at everything, man.
He broke some kind of mad record, like 9 blocks in one game or something. Like,
yeah, it's dumb.
It's up there.
I think they all will push each other because I think now they look round and Mo probably is the one that goes, you guys have to compete against each other. No one's on my side. And now he's looked around and going, so I have to compete against this guy. And I think it's the same with, I would initially have liked Gakpo to start based on the Euros. But after watching that Seville game, and I know it's only pre-season, I was like, yeah, Diaz have come back with a different mentality in terms of what he wants to do. So now them two are going to have to battle it out for that side. Yeah. Jota is obviously the striker. He's starting the season, and he came back early for pre-season and stuff. But now Nunes has to. He's like, oh, okay, so I'm going to be on the bench then if I don't. Yeah, that's what you're going to be, man, until you back up your ideas and score some goals.
Looks hot as well. Jota looks hot. Jota looks like he's involved in everything as well. Like he's getting more touches in the box. He's not doing those mazy runs where he every time he did that, I kind of felt like, oh my God, you're going to get injured doing that. Kaiser does that a lot, by the way. I just wanted to warn people, like watch his highlight reels. Like he does a lot of those mazy runs as well. He reminds me a bit of Jota, to be honest.
He does.
We got no issues there. Like Jota's having rest as well. He's being brought off like early in games, which is good. So hopefully they're all getting managed right, and Jota's in the actual Portuguese team as well for the next couple of games. I mean, pretty much everyone in our team's been called up.
I think it's Chiesa probably not in the Italian team, or was it someone I heard saying?
I haven't seen their team.
Yeah,
it probably isn't.
But I like what they're doing. A lot of strength and conditioning stuff, a lot of core stuff.
Yeah.
They're not. I think they're focusing more on strengthening their muscles, and because obviously what they're going to have to do within games, but also the patience of how we want to play.
Have you heard about? I mean, this I think I heard about this on the Anfield Wrap, off one of the guys on there, but and he got this from one of the Liverpool players. So basically, they're doing this coffee mornings, where they're drinking coffee and they're all chatting and chilling out and that. So they've replaced they've replaced the gym sessions where they were allowed to go and do the gym sessions because they were increasing their muscle mass in the wrong areas. So basically, they all look lean and looked ripped, and they were all literally beasting each other in the gym. And this was something they were doing. So Slot and his team's come along and gone, well, hang on a minute, that's not helping you. Like that's not helping you. Like they were looking at the amount of times they were pushed off the ball and never won duels last season, and it's because they had too much muscle mass in the wrong areas. Like their arms and their legs were strong, but they didn't have the core strength. So what they've done is they've literally gone, you're not doing that. Like the only fitness you're doing in the season is what we're providing you and giving you as the fitness you should be doing. And then they're going, instead of doing all that other gym work where you're all beasting each other for a laugh, like because you want to look good in the mirror, they're like, no, you're going to go and rest and you're having coffees and chilling out with each other and then going shooting and doing things like that, doing activities like that.
So because you can see from the gym sessions that they're having, there's a lot of yoga in there as well.
Yeah.
I saw them doing obviously on the last insider training, a lot of breathing exercises and stuff just to calm, like to clear their minds and stuff. But everything's to do with their core and their power from acceleration or, holding people off or coming out of duels or getting into duels and coming out, first best. Because that's one of the things sometimes I don't like about a team. We go into like we press and we look hungry and whatever, but we never come out like sometimes we don't come out with the ball. It's like we go in there and then it's so we didn't get the ball then. So all that running around and get
that.
And that's what some of the things I didn't like. But it looks like now, from what I've seen, once we go for a tackle, we're coming out first best.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just want to look at like the amount of duels, the amount of knock-ons, the amount of fouls we've made as well is quite impressive. Like, and the number of fouls we're making is in the middle of the park where we're just breaking up the play. We're getting the leg in there, we're pushing them over. Okay, if I might not win this duel, but I'm going to foul you, so you ain't getting past me.
I did see the last one when Sabo was going shoulder to shoulder with everyone. He kept saying to the ref, like, shoulders, man. Like, and the ref was like, nah, it's a foul, mate. And I'm like, nah, that's what I like, though, because at least it's not like a foul where the ref is thinking about giving you a yellow. It's more of like a 50-50, but you've won it. But it's a foul at the same time. It's just one of those ones where the ref's like, nah, think like you've probably come in from slightly a bit behind and you've nudged him a bit. Stuff like that. I don't mind that, but we're being a bit more aggressive and we're coming out with the ball. And that's what I love at the moment.
I mean, if you just want to talk about Dom, then like what he did with that, where he won that ball and spun around and put us on the attack for the Salah goal in the last game that made it 2-0. He was heavily involved in that. Like if he hadn't won the ball back and done the turn. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. So what we'll do is we did sign another player, by the way. I want to bring
the young kid from Wolves.
Yeah, it's finally done. I just wanted to show this one here. So we've got this guy over the line. 2 million. It's quite a lot. He was in the Wolves pre-season team as well. So maybe they were still trying to keep him. Maybe they didn't think we were gonna get him, but he was actually in the Wolves pre-season team, and he also played in the under-21s. He's only 16. He's highly rated, just like that Rio guy whose name I can't pronounce. So that'll be another 2 that will be added to the squad, but they're not going to be. You won't see any of them near the first team for probably a year or 2. But
it's good though to kind of see these type of kids, right? And I know that obviously some people say the academy is rubbish or whatever. You can have your opinion on it, whether it's true or not. But you can see that they're going after the best youngsters or the future stars around and making sure we acquire them. Bajcetic wasn't our player, we bought him. Do you know what I mean? So there's certain players. Trey Noni wasn't our player, we bought him. Like we're buying these players to bring them into the club. Rio wasn't our player, we bought him. So we're trying to get these talented youngsters that are just there and get them in from now, so we can make them a part of our crop going through. To see these players in the future are going to be, they carry on obviously the path that they're on, they can be top players, man. But it's gonna take time. It's gonna take hard work. They have to listen, dedicate themselves to it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. I also wanted to quickly touch on just a couple of players that are still not signed up to clubs, and they could be available. There is a few things from Spain which have said that we have looked at this guy
Okay.
as a potential free signing, who's won, he's a Spanish international as well, by the way. He's got 5 caps. I mean, it was a number of years ago, but he is a left-footed centre back. He's only 29. I remember he played against us. So he used to play for Atletico Madrid. He left on a free.
Right.
I believe he was trying to get a move to another club. I think he was trying to get a move to maybe Saudi Arabia. I'm not 100% sure, but he's rated at 25 million euros. He's available on a free transfer. Do you know anything about him? Would you be happy with that as just a stopgap?
I would have rather kept set.
He's not left-footed, though, but he's not.
I know, but I'd rather, because I saw him in pre-season. I can't remember this guy playing. To be fair, don't really know nothing about him to know if he's good enough. I can only hear what you're saying and kind of take that with a pinch of salt until I do some homework on him. But
okay, I just thought I'd bring him up because
no, that's perfectly fine, because that's players that we can go in as a stopgap. But I feel like I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be something Arne Slot would do, stopgaps like that. So, but if he's there and he's left-footed and he's good enough.
Yeah. So he played 31 games last season, by the way, mate.
Oh, okay.
For them. So and he got an assist. So he played 2,500 minutes, and he's got.
Do you know any reason why they would have released him on? You don't know anything around that?
I think he wanted to leave.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to leave to get like a last big payday. Because he's 29, isn't he? So maybe they went. But he's got 249 games centre back and 53 games as left back. But he's played. I mean, he's got 15 goals. It's pretty good, actually. So he played 9 games in the Champions League last season, got a goal and an assist. 4 games in the Copa del Rey. Season before that, 26 games, 3 goals. Like, he's a solid player. Look at his 2,500 minutes, 2,100 minutes, 1,800 minutes.
The trouble is,
doesn't look like he's injured either. Like he's ever injured.
Listen, anyway. I don't mind making the squad stronger, but the trouble is, do you see him replacing any of our current centre backs on the bench, for an example? Do you know, like we know we can only take 9 on a match day?
I get that, but if we are sat there and we maybe look at that now and we go, you know what, maybe we do need a 9th, and Nalo isn't that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or maybe against Manchester United something happens, then we might pull the trigger on that one. Or he could actually be signed, like, and we just don't know it yet. Like, we could be in talks with him, and he might have been a guy that was just available. You know, like Endo was. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, if he came in and he was backup for Gomez, so to speak, then I'd be all right with that. Like, I'd be quite fine with that, because he is a good player. Like, and he's played at a good club for a number of years, Atletico Madrid. Anyway, I'm just saying there are people out there still. Obviously Rabiot's still out there as a defensive midfielder. I mean, the guy played in the Euros, and he was probably one of their best players, if I'm honest. He's left on a free as well. 48 caps. Like, he's available. He would cost probably 180,000 a week, I think, his wages. So he would be quite expensive. But he's another player that's out there that's available. And then there's also this guy as well, who's left Nice. I'm just looking at defensive midfielders and left-sided centre backs who I think are potentials.
If anything, we could go in and try and get them in.
Yep. He's also got. He's also played in the French squad. He's a defensive midfielder who can also play left-sided centre back. He was in the Nice team last year, so he's left as well. So just there's a couple of guys that are still there. I mean, this guy's only 23.
Right.
So just wanted to just bring them up. Like there's obviously, if you go on the free agents thing, you can have a look on Transfermarkt. Like anyone can do it. Like just you can have a look through there. There are players in there, but those are the ones that kind of jump out. Obviously, Joe Matip's in there as well, but those are the ones that kind of jump out at me. But if it's okay, can we have a little look at the team and a preview into the United game?
United.
Yeah. Okay. So, if anyone ever wants to like have a little rundown of our stats and some interesting things which come up, I do recommend this preview which I use, which is Sportmole. Just
Okay.
if anyone's interested in that, if anyone's doing their own content and stuff like that, get a lot of stuff from there because there's some really good stats that they bring up.
Right.
So, hang on, let me just open that up a bit. I'm just gonna zoom in. Where are we? Zoom in.
That is shiny head. I can see. Whose head is that? Arnie Slots.
Yeah, no, that's the shiny head. So, okay, so just a little bit. So obviously, Manchester United have won and lost. We've obviously won our first 2 games. I'll just do a little bit of a preview. None of Liverpool's last 9 managers have masterminded a victory over Manchester United. In their first non-friendly games against the Red Devils, Bob Paisley was the last to achieve this. Paisley. But Slot is one of the 4 bosses to oversee 2 wins in the first 2. I mean, the other 2 managers have never heard of, like, and because they were like when it was black and white. The other one was obviously Souness. Yeah, 4 goals have been scored and none conceded by the Reds in that time as Sunday's visitors followed up their 2-0 beating of Ipswich, who drew today 1-1, by the way, with an identical win over Brentford last weekend, who have won 2 of their games that they played, and we've beaten them in our game. So they're not particularly crap teams because they've still won their games. So it was us that beat them. Luis Diaz and Mo Salah with the goals. Red Devils made it through Jurgen Klopp's farewell season without suffering a single loss. I think it's going to be interesting with that because I think we're going to take away the emotion and the chaos out of those games, and it doesn't look like there's been any crazy stuff before the games. We haven't had anyone talking rubbish out of our squad, which is great. They're all out of the media, so because I hated that when you've got our players doing interviews saying, "Oh yeah, we're all gonna make amends and we're all gonna do this," and then you're like,
I don't like when they
what did you do?
Yeah, I don't like them particularly like that as well. But I think sometimes it is the questions as well. They always like to interview Mo.
Yeah,
I'm like, are you just going to interview him every year in every Man United game, asking him the same question? Oh, do you know what, Mo? You always scoring again. Like, come on, man. Let's interview someone else, man.
Yeah.
Give someone else the limelight. Like, all Mo's going to be doing is saying the exact same thing he said last year because he can't change it. What is he going to say? Oh, yeah, the reason why. Well, you said the reason why differently last year. I think we just need to interview someone else. Interview, I don't know, Kanate or something for Man United, but like interview Allison. Something like other people, man. We don't Mo. I know you're going to cook them anyway. I think he scored the most goals against them anyway.
I know. Well,
yeah,
I'll cover that in a bit. So obviously, injury was literally added to insult to Man United loss at Brighton, and that goal as well, which was disallowed, was hilarious.
Yeah, I like that.
They were right on top of that game as well when they scored that goal, and he kicked it in and offside. They're obviously out with Mason Mount now. They've also they've lost Yoro, Hoyland, Malacia, who I've never seen. Luke Shaw, Lindelof's out as well, and also Bruno. There's a full debut for Xerxes, and Bruno Fernandes occupies the number 10 slot.
Mm-hmm.
And the Red Devils never got Agarthe over the line in time, which I think's crazy. They didn't get that sorted for this game. And we managed to get Chiesa, but I don't think he's going to be in the squad. It's been mentioned that he might not be, but he was in training on Friday, so maybe.
I'd love if he did make the squad.
I'd love it as well. Obviously, the only person that's a doubt is Curtis Jones. He might not be ready in time, the manager said. Virgil van Dijk captains for the 200 top flight game for us. And if you don't know the stats, then he's never lost in 98 games in his 100 games at Anfield. Like, that's just insane numbers. This is the potential lineup for United: Onana, Mazzori, De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, Manu, Casemiro, Dalot, Fernandes, Garnacho, and Xerxes. What do you think of that?
I think they should go Maguire, you know. And I know people that they might be good for us.
I think he's been their best
I actually think he's been good. Like the first game I watched, he was unreal. The second one, I was in and out of that game, so I don't really can comment on if he did well or not. But that first game, unreal. I think De Ligt is a good defender, but I don't know if he still has it. This is going to be a tough test for him, especially if you're going to be playing Mazraoui and him. That's two inexperienced players for this particular, clash against Liverpool in the Premier League. Dalot, I think he's top. He's a top player, man.
Yeah, I think he's one of their best players.
Meno and Casemiro, I think they'll be fine. Dalot and Garnacho, I think that's the two they should start, because I think Rashford just makes him shit. And Bruno Fernandes, he's just always in the way, isn't he? And then Xerxes.
Hate him.
Yeah, I think Xerxes is obviously he's coming up against his compatriot in Verge, and then he's probably going to have to go, I'm not going to go to Virgin and realise whoever starts out is going to be even stronger. And yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's a good team for them to start, apart from the De Ligt one. I would have gone with Maguire.
Yeah. It might well be Maguire. He obviously got called back up for England as well, so
did he get the call?
Southgate. Yeah, maybe it was a Southgate, and obviously our lineup: Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson. I thought Robertson had a decent game last game, by the way.
Yeah, he was very good.
So maybe we're going to see something a bit different this season now. He didn't run the forward all the time, so they kind of alternated, like who went first, which I think's something good, because last season they were both just completely out of position all the time, and we just had two at the back all the time. So now we've got a bit more stability. McAllister, who's been really good in second halves, but not so good in first halves, but we'll see how that goes. Gravenberch, can't say anything bad about him. He's been brilliant. Salah's been sensational. Dom's been a bit iffy in the first half, same as Mack, but second half, sensational. Diaz has been great. Jota's been great as well. What do you think of that lineup?
I don't think it doesn't need a change at all.
Yeah, it doesn't need changing, does it?
I think unless there's injuries, you keep that exactly the same. I think they're getting used to each other in terms of how and what the manager wants. So I'd keep it the exact same. I don't think there's nothing else needed to be added. Just hopefully there's one man on the bench, Chiesa. And I'll be happy.
Yeah, I hope so as well. So obviously they think it's going to be a 1-0 to Liverpool.
Okay.
So as well as racking up the highest number of expected goals so far this season, Liverpool's expected goals against total is one of the best in the division. I think in the last, I think it's in the last 10 games, it's 26-6 in goals to Liverpool to Man United.
We should have definitely added more last year. We should have definitely added more. Honestly, bro, we should have added way more last season.
I know we should have. Especially at Anfield as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, look, to be fair, the Anfield one, they defended well, if I remember correctly. It was the Old Trafford one. It felt like we were just cutting them open, and then we just made the wrong, we picked the wrong option every single time. if it was a Nunes shooting, it was in the cutback that we needed. Mo slip a foot shot, and it was going, we're going through, and then the guys are just not. I don't know, man. It was just crazy. But I think, yeah.
So a bit more about the analysis on this game. So this is all competitions, by the way. Like this is our form going in all competitions. So 2 wins, a draw, and then 3 wins. United's been loss, win, loss, loss, win, draw. Not fantastic. Premier League's not been great for them either. Premier League's been good for us. 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 win, 1 draw. It's obviously going back to last season as well.
Yeah.
On our analysis, the outcomes are Liverpool's probability of a win is 55%. Man United's is 24%, and a draw is 20%. Most likely scoreline is a 2-1 to us, which is 9%. 3-1 is 6%, 2-0 is 6%. I think it'll be 2-0 again, by the way. The likeliest of Man United's win will be a 2-1, which is a 5%, and a 1-0, which is an 8%. And I won't cover the goal bit, but I will cover this. So this was the training. So this was who trained for us on Friday.
Okay.
Just to give you some names. So we got Ali, Keller, Davies, and Miskio. They're always there or thereabouts. So Yaros wasn't about. So that's an interesting one. Maybe he's injured. Then you got Canate, Van Dijk, Quansah, Gomez, Trent, Robbo, Simicas, and Bradley all trained. Midfielders Dom, Grav, McAllister, Elliott, Endo, Morton, Naoni. Jones wasn't there. And then Salah, Chiesa, Jota, Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo. So that's a full quota.
Yeah.
So it's good to see we have a full squad quota. I mean, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but like I think the last time we had a full squad to pick from is I can't remember how many years ago. Like it's literally years ago.
It always felt like we had injuries or something.
Always, everywhere. There's always long-term ones as well, which was so frustrating.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, honestly, it's good. It's good that we had that many, or we have that many players training as well, man. Apart from Jones, that's so good, man. Yaros, you could understand. I don't, I mean, he's not going to be on the bench unless there's an injury to one of the other 2 goalkeepers. But so that's kind of fine. But yeah, like Jones is losing valuable time now in terms of trying to get into this team.
I know, mate. I know, and now you've got Tyler Morton, who's not going anywhere. He's going to be hot on his heels, like, and he's basically taken over his role in the under-21s as well. Now that Jones can't play in the under-21s, he's kind of fitted in and took his place. So obviously you just mentioned Curtis Jones. He's a serious doubt after missing training. I think it's a groin.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of those injuries, by the way. Those niggly ones, which is annoying. Chiesa's available, but unlikely to make the squad. I don't know. Maybe he can. And we've obviously covered the 25-man training that we've seen. Yeah. In the Brentford game, he swapped out Canate for Quansah, and Canate didn't put a foot wrong in the Brentford game. He won all his duels, he won all his headers. He was a monster. This is kind of the lineup and the positions which we see the team in, which makes a lot of sense. What I have noticed as well is Jota drops into the false 9, and Szoboszlai goes into the false 9, and then we've got basically this box of 4.
Yeah.
And it's just there's so much strength in there, and because you've got that box of 4 in the middle of the park, and then basically 2 of the 4 are backing up the 2 defenders, and then Robbo and Alexander-Arnold join that 4. You've got this 6 here, so you've got 6 here, and then you've got you've got six here,
Yeah.
and then you've got 4 here. So you've got the team going, well, hang on a minute. Do we try and battle against that 6 and
Yeah.
send all our players up there to compete against them? But then they've got
Cool.
4 here.
So, and I think that's where we've been
It's like
catching a
stick or
lot of these
twist.
teams out. Yeah. I said
Yeah.
that on one of my previews. The way that we want to push teams and play against them, teams have to make a decision. They either have to go all in, or if they don't go all in, then it's going to be an issue either way. So they have to go all in and hope that they can get something from maybe a good little pressing moment and maybe a chance arises from that. But you literally, when you do that press, and because we leave the 4 so high and we leave them in certain spaces, you either have to get man for man tight with them, which the defense then comes up really high to go and mark them. So the defense has to come to about the halfway line, which you've got players like Diaz and Mo that will just get in behind really quickly.
Yeah.
Or you get moments where they've decided to press, there's a massive gap. Then we'll go goalkeeper goes long, one of our midfielders spin, we play at 1-2, and then the winger is in, like we saw against Arsenal.
And they're breaking, from their own half.
So it's going to...
Can't even play them offside.
It's tough because you have to.
And the thing about it, if you go the opposite way, so they go, okay, then. So what we'll do is we'll try and take them. So we'll mark all their players out of the game. Okay.
Yeah.
So they go man for man on the attack, and they maybe bring a midfielder in. So they've nullified our attack. They then haven't got enough to go forward against our defence. So then we win possession back. And then we're in the situation where, well, we've always got the ball then. So we're either in control of the ball most of the game, which we have been, especially in the second half, and then we've got the attackers there. So their team have got to go sometime, because they can't just let us have the ball permanently. So they've got to eventually go, right, you know what, we're just going to have a go, and then we've got the 4 up front. So it's like, yeah, we just go along then. It's a really interesting tactic and formation that we play.
I think if we watch Man City today, I'm sure people did in the chat, or you got bored and switched it off, one of the two. But those are the type of games that we have to watch to understand what Liverpool are trying to do. There was a moment in the game when literally West Ham wanted to just go on a counter-attack every single time. That takes it out of you as a team, because there's a lot of sprints, there's a lot of high turnover. As soon as Manchester City got the ball, usually we would have done the Klopp thing and, okay, we've now won it, let's go quick and see if we can hit you on a counter because you've got less men there. Man City just went, no, we're just going to keep the ball. We're winning the game. You've just done all this sprinting that, for no reason, because now we've won the ball back. And we're just going to keep the ball. And I was looking at the West Ham players and I'm like, they look exhausted. And I'm like, why are you so exhausted? Because Man City just kept moving the ball, slowing the game down, draining the life out of them. And then when Man City got their chance, they just scored. The moment you switch off, they just score goals. And I like that, because then there's a sense of control in the game for them. And I think that's what we're trying to emulate. Maybe not the Man City way, but something similar to that. We want to dominate the ball and we want to keep it. So there's a lot of times when I'm like, you want to give it because you're like, they only got 3 players full back, and you're like, oh, if we play it now, we could have the advantage. We're like, no, we're 2-0 up. Let's just keep the ball. We don't need the third. We don't necessarily need it. As long as we have the ball, they can't score. And I think
I like that.
We're going to be, I think some of the fan base, some of the people that support the club are going to be bored at games, because we're going to be like, we're 1-0 up and we don't necessarily need to go and get that second unless the opportunity arises. Can it work like that for the whole season? Probably not. Maybe not. I get, but if it works enough games and we keep enough clean sheets and we save our players' legs, when it comes to those moments in them games when we have to do we're 1-0 down now. Now we've got so much in the leg. You do what Man City do, and then you blink 5 minutes in and it's 3-1. You're like, okay, so them scoring early didn't really matter then. Do you know what I mean? Like what we saw against Ipswich. They just blinked and they were 3-1 down.
I know, yeah. And the second halves in games are just like, it is stark contrast. It's like it is like the other team they just run out of legs.
Yeah.
We just pick them off. Like we can just pick them off. And the fact that he's rotating the wingers as well means there's going to be more legs in them as well. They're going to be fresher. Great analysis, mate, by the way. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do in the chat. And can I please have one of my mods, please put Enz's link in the chat. If not, I'll do it at the end of the show. What else have I got? So I'm pretty much done. Oh, actually, I wanted to quickly go over the dates for the Champions League games. What did you think about the Champions League draw? I haven't spoken to you about it.
I think it was actually.
I think those
interesting.
home games are brilliant.
Yeah, I think that the tough oppositions that I think that's going to be a problem. We've got them at home. That means we don't have to travel. There's obviously other teams in there that's probably a good footballing side, but I trust our boys to go and get those kind of jobs done. But yeah, no, I like it. Real Madrid's at home. Leverkusen's at home. Who else did I see that was at home?
We've got Bologna as well.
Bologna. But obviously they've lost Xerxes, they've lost Thiago Motta, they've lost Calafiori as well. So
yeah, they've lost most of their good players, and Lille as well. Lille have been a bit rinsed as well of some of their players.
Play against Mbappe's brother, won't we?
Real Madrid haven't played fantastic either, and they've got a few big injuries. We've got them in November though, so they'll probably have. I think they'll have Jude back, and I think they'll have one of their defenders back as well. But you don't know about Real Madrid. They're a bit of a
listen. They have to come to Anfield, and it's better than us traveling to Spain and going to the Bernabeu, I guess. So
yeah, I know.
The only problem is that's in between the Man City game as well. So I think it's them, then Man City.
Oh, is it?
Or Man City, then them. One of the way around. So yeah, we got to play.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. I haven't looked at the Premier League games that come in there.
Yeah, I think Sav was telling me. I think it's either them, Man City, then Newcastle, and like Everton or something like that, or you know what I mean. But I know it's them after each other. Whatever way, we're playing them both back to back.
Okay. So. But we've got so I think the numbers came out and we've got the third hardest draw out of anybody. PSG got the hardest. Have you seen theirs?
Yeah, I saw it. They've got some crazy. But
the guy was nearly crying.
I like the way it is though, because it's just a one-off game, isn't it? You got 8 games. Just get how many points you can. Just accumulate the points you can. So it's not like my days we're going to play them home and away, and we have to try and get. No, we just play them the once. If we draw against Real Madrid, we draw. If we beat them, we beat them. If we lose, we lose. Just go into the other games and try and get the points.
We're only going to go for another 5 minutes, by the way, mate.
Cool, no problem.
Also, what I think is really interesting as well is when you do the Champions League, like in previous, if you win like your first couple of games, you're through. Like with this, because of the way it's all been done, you can have like a garbage team who you'd never think would be competing. They could be top of the table, like right to the very end, because all of their games might not be tough games. So they played a load of other teams that are there or thereabouts, and some of the best teams could be like, you might have won like your first 4 games, and you're still 10th. Like, you know what I mean? Because of the way it's set out. So I think it's going to be really interesting this league to see it.
You have to try and just get
it's like 15 points should get you through.
Yeah, you should put you in the top, because you want to end up in the top 8 in that massive league, don't you? You want to be in the top 8, so you go straight to like the knockout.
Well, you want to be in the top 2 because then you split. Like you go into one side and then the other one goes into the other side. So if you've got like Liverpool and say Real Madrid, then you know that you're not on the same side. Like anyway,
might have to play them.
Anyway, I digress. But that was I wanted to quickly cover that, and then I also wanted to quickly touch on some of our fixtures coming up. Obviously we've got Man United away, and then we've got Forest at home. Then we've got West Ham in the League Cup.
Yeah.
Obviously AC's in there away, and then you've got Bournemouth, Wolves. Like the next, I don't know, like the next month. That's a pretty easy run, isn't it? What do you think?
Easy is the word
Even
that
up to Palace, even up to Palace away, if I'm honest.
Yeah, so we got obviously Man United. We kind of covered that. Forest, that should be a win at home. West Ham in the cup. It depends on the team they play and not our team. To be fair, it looks like we're going to have strong players anyway because we've loaned out all the youngsters that you'd think to play in these games. So it'll be a strong team against them. AC Milan away. That's the first of the Champions League game, isn't it? So that should be good. So I think we'll rotate in that West Ham game, which means we'll have a strong squad going into that AC Milan game away with some fresh legs. And we come back. Bournemouth, is that at 12 o'clock or is that, or am I seeing the time wrong?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, that's fine. Bournemouth at Anfield. Wolves away. I don't see an issue with that.
5:30 on a Sunday, on a Saturday. 5:30 on a Saturday. That one.
No, that's good. 8 o'clock against Bologna. That's fine. And Palace, that's fine as well. And then we got Chelsea. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that you're right. That month there, that's winnable games. I don't think you should look at those and go, "Oh, we could stumble here." I think they're all winnable games.
I think so too. I think there's potentially full set of points off all of them. The Man United one's the toughest one because you just don't know what you're going to get with Man United. Like, and you don't know what you're going to get from us. But there's moments in it. It's just moments. But I don't think it's going to be like that. I just don't feel it's going to be like that at all. Them not having Ugarte is a big miss. Like, because they could really do with someone in that midfield and not Casemiro, because we can just play the ball around him. Like we did against Odegaard.
To be fair to him, though, he has looked better than what he was last season. And I know it's only 2 games in, but it looks a bit better than what he was. So, look, it's one of those games, isn't it? I think you're right. Well, you made a statement earlier about all of our players kind of staying out of the media for this one, because usually it's like, oh, yes, we need to blah, blah, blah. I think we have to kind of take the emotions out of this one. I think just look at the game as just a game and do what the manager has asked us to do and play the way we've been playing. And there should not be no reason. If we play the way we've been playing, there should be no reason why we can't beat Man United. But if we allow the emotions to get in it, we allow getting sucked into little things and silly little fouls and silly little, do you know what I mean? Those little things put us off of our game, because we saw how we played against them in pre-season. Many people might not look at that, but I saw they were trying, we were trying. We didn't have none of these type of players that we have now, like the Trents and the Virgils and all these, all the big players are now back for these kind of. So if they were pretty much, apart from, who were they missing? Bruno, I want to say Garnacho, but more Bruno. He's a star man for them.
It was Bruno.
Apart from that, I'm thinking, who else did they really miss? And then obviously, I think who got injured? Rasmus got injured before the game, so in the Arsenal one, didn't he?
They had a pretty full strength squad, mate. If I'm honest.
They did, and we didn't have a full strength squad. So if we're doing the match for match, and I know it's a different game, it's just 3 points, it's going to be different things, but man, I think we're fine, man. I think if we play what we need, how we need to play, look at it as a game, take the emotions out of it, that should be a win for us.
Yeah, I've just put Enzman's link in the chat. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please go and do that straight after this.
Thanks,
I also wanted to bring up Man United squad that they bought and they sold for. So great bit of shopping there. It looks like Varane might be getting released of his contract already as well, because he hasn't been registered for Monza.
He did get injured though in his first game. That could be a massive part to play in that. So
crazy. And quickly as well, I also wanted to just where is it? I just wanted to where is it? Yeah, okay. So I wanted to just quickly scan over this. So I know we're all upset that we didn't sign 1 million players in the transfer window, and we didn't get all the people that the fans wanted. But I just wanted to quickly scan over just a couple of teams in the Premier League. So what we have done is we've reduced our average age down to 25 now, which used to be around the 29-year-old mark.
Mm-hmm.
We managed to reduce that, which is obviously good. We've obviously got 23 players in our squad. Chelsea have obviously got 33. But if you look at Arsenal's and Manchester City's, Arsenal got 22 and Manchester City got 25. And they've also got Scott Carson in their team registered.
There's only 24 really then, isn't it?
There's only 24 really, if I'm honest. And I wanted to actually look at their squad as well. We've obviously got 18 foreigners. Man City have got 17 and Arsenal got 18. I'm only really covering those three teams because they are mainly our competitors, if I'm honest. We've obviously got the lowest value in 920 million compared to 1.2 billion and 1.1 billion.
Their squad is 1.1, bro. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 1.1. I think he spent nearly 700 million in 5 seasons, and he's only won 2 cups with Unai Emery's team. Wasn't even
He's
his
won
team.
one really, then he's only won
Or
the
one,
FA.
yeah, one, yeah. So first of all, I'll do Man City's. Their average age is 27, by the way. So Man City squad, obviously they've got Scott Carson in there, Ederson and Ortega as their goalkeepers. You've got Diaz, Akanji, Ake, Stones, Guardiola. They've got this Josh Wilson, Esbrand in their team. Rico Lewis, so they've got a 21-year-old and a
Rico Lewis was cold
19-year-old.
today as well, man. Really
He was
good.
cold. He missed some big chances though. He needs to work on his finishing, but he is cold, and he's in the England team as well now. Obviously, Kyle Walker and Issa Kabore. So let's just be a bit realistic here. So Esbrand and Kabore are never going to play for them in the Premier League, like unless they're depleted. Yeah. So you're basically looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got seven defenders. We've got 8. Okay, just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be real here, and this is why I've done this. Then obviously midfield, Rodri, who's 28 now, by the way. Nunes won't play, but he's there. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 midfielders because James McAtee, who's registered as well, he's never going to play.
He might do because I can only go by what Pep said though.
Yeah.
He said he wants to keep him and give him the opportunity. So I say count him, but if you're talking about being a main starter, probably not. But I think you would have to count him.
Okay, so they've got 7 midfielders. We've got 9. No, sorry, we've got 8. So that's the Man City squad, and then the forward line: 1, 2, 3, 4. He's out for the season. 5. I mean, they've literally got 5 attackers. We've got 6.
6, but they had 6, which is
they had 6. They had 6. Bob would have played, by the way. Bob would have played. But they got 6, and we've got 6. So that's the Manchester City squad. I thought I'd just show you that. And then you got Arsenal's, which I think you'll be quite interested in as well. Looking at Arsenal's, like the meltdown is a little bit premature. I think. I do think it's a little bit premature. God, this screen keeps on coming up.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, goalkeepers. Breyer, decent goalkeeper, and then Neto, who's not a great goalkeeper. So that's their goalkeeping situation, which is a bit dire, honest. Then they've got Saliba, Gabriel, Calfiore, who's brand new. Timber, who's just got injured, by the way. Again, Zinchenko wasn't great last season. Kivior, I don't think he's a great player. Kieran Tierney was always injured. Ben White and Tomiyasu, and Tomiyasu's injured quite a lot as well.
So is Tomiyasu and Kieran Tierney injured again?
Yeah, both injured. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've got 9, but they've really got they've really got 7 because these guys are always injured. But they haven't.
And they don't really rate Kivior either. So even though he's there, they don't rate him, and I don't think he's that good anyway.
Exactly. So they've really got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are going to play. So just showing you Arsenal's, and then you've got their midfield, their midfield's now a lot less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's not even a midfielder now.
Yeah, he's
plays
more
up
of a
front.
forward that can play there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got 5 midfielders. Like they've literally got 5 midfielders, and we are going crazy that we've got 8. They've got 5. Like if they like this guy's out with a broken arm, isn't he?
Yeah, shoulder, fractured shoulder.
He fractured shoulder, so he's out for God
He'll
knows
be out
how
for a
long.
while.
So they've got Rice is injured. Rice is banned for a game. So they've got Partey, Jorginho, Odegaard, and they probably aren't going to have to play Havertz in midfield.
Yeah, it's going to be Jorginho and
So
probably Partey in there.
They are down to. They haven't got a huge amount either. Okay, and then forward-wise, Martinelli's always injured. Then you've got Sterling. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that's a team that's challenging against us. They haven't got a big squad. Like I just wanted to show people this because I know the fume, but that's an interesting look at the opposition because they haven't got a huge amount of players like in positions either, and they have a lot of injuries in positions as well, and they seem to have a lot of players that get injured, like our previous did. You know, they seem to have like their type of Naby Keita's and Oxlade-Chamberlain's for me in some of their squads. Anyway, there you go. I know we've gone over a little bit, mate.
That's all right, man. I enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed it.
If you haven't subscribed, please do in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, hope you enjoy it. Roll right back to the start. Some great analysis by Enz about the squad and also about some of our tactics. And his link is in the chat as well. Please go and subscribe to his channel. Have you got anything coming up that you want to?
I haven't. Well, I keep getting pestered to do the watch-alongs. I might do if I'm back in time tomorrow. I might do the watch-along, but because we're in a good run, I don't want to jinx it and get involved. And then my first watch-along, we end up losing. Do you know what I mean? So,
that's fair enough.
But I might do the other one after that. But what I will be doing, if you guys are interested in coming along and taking part in, man, the call-in. So we normally do the call-in after the game, but I'll wait for everyone else to kind of get their tantrums out the way, and then we can have a great conversation, man. So everyone gets 3 minutes when they call in, and you can just tell us how you feel about the game. Even KMack, yeah, everyone gets it. It's fair. Just makes it fair for everyone to be fair, and then yeah, man, should be good.
Brilliant, mate. Thanks for joining us. I
really enjoyed it, bro. Thanks for inviting me.
And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to Enzo's channel, please do. And obviously, you have a wonderful rest of your evening and weekend, everyone. And what do you think about the score tomorrow?
I've been always throwing these them scoring. I think it'll be 2-1, no 3-1 to us. 3-1 to us. Yeah.
All right. I think it'll be another 2-0. I'm quite confident in another 2-0. I'm quite happy with 2-0s all season for me. It works for me. Yeah, if you want to write it in the chat, you can do. I hope you've enjoyed the preview show, and I'll catch up with you through the week when I do another latest news update. And I'm probably going to do another guest for the review show, and I'm going to ask Quasi because he's always asked me, so I'm going to ask him. So much for 5-0.
Hey,
love it. Absolutely love that. Oh no, don't do 1-0. Don't do 1-0, LK. Yeah, so I'll catch you later and up the Reds.
Peace.
See you later.